Welcome into today's Transferator. We've got some tasty stories for you. Ali Moreno is going to break down whether they have some merit or not in the scheme of the summer market, Ali. Antonio Conte is a free man. He's got to go somewhere.
Yeah.
Are Inter Milan the best destination for him?
Well, I don't think it's the best destination for him. What I do think is that obviously you make the connection between Beppe Marotta, his time at Juventus, and Antonio Conte's time at Juventus. And so therefore, it's easy to say, you know what? Maybe Inter Milan makes sense. And why does it make sense? Well, because Spalletti isn't exactly killing it at Inter. Let's just put it that way. The way that this whole Icardi situation has been handled, whether that's Spalletti, whether that's the organization, it doesn't show very well on anybody. On Icardi, Spalletti, Inter as a whole. It's become a little bit of a circus. So if I'm Antonio Conte, do I really want to be part of a circus? Am I a clown? No, I'm not a clown. So Antonio Conte will go somewhere, but I don't think that this is the best destination for him.
Do you think wages will play a part for him? Because apparently he wants quite a wedge.
Well, it always plays a part, right? We like to believe that this is all about the love of the game. It is not. Antonio Conte is going to demand a certain amount of money because, well, that's the sort of manager that he's known to be around the world in terms of the accomplishment that he has had and the things that he has achieved. And so, therefore, there is a market price. There is a market value. And if Inter is not willing to meet that market value, he's not coming.
Yeah, we'll see where the leverage lies with Conte then. So, Paulo Dybala, he's had a miserable season, hasn't he? Mm-hmm. It hasn't worked out for him despite the support from Cristiano Ronaldo on a personal level. Football-wise, his arrival has really hurt him. Is he off to Bayern Munich?
I think he's off to somewhere. I don't think that is specifically Bayern Munich because Bayern Munich has to figure out what they do with a player that is very much like him, James Rodriguez. They have to sort out James Rodriguez, and is he a part of the future of Bayern Munich? Is he a player that they continue to believe will be an important part of Bayern Munich? And if that's the case, then what's the space for Paulo Dybala? It doesn't feel like James will stay at Bayern, and if he doesn't, then maybe that opens a space for Paulo Dybala. A lot of pieces have to fall into place. I don't think it's Dybala to Bayern Munich, Dybala to somewhere else.
Okay. Marcus Rashford. Mm-hmm. Now, Manchester United would be crazy to let him go.
Correct.
He's got a year, possibly two, because they have an option on him as well. Big money being prepared for him. He's a Manchester lad. But could Barcelona yet be circling and swooping for him? Would that be a good move for him?
Well, of course it would be a good move for Marcus Rashford. I find this so very curious and convenient that these stories are coming out of England. They're not coming out of Catalonia. They're not coming out of Barcelona. They're coming out of England. And so it's easy to generate excitement whenever you bring up Marcus Rashford's name, and then Barcelona right next to it. I just don't think that interest is coming from the place that it needs to come from, and that's Barcelona. And so therefore, up until we see Barcelona step forward and say, yeah, we're going after Marcus Rashford, until then I'll say Marcus Rashford stays at Manchester United, which, by the way, I think right now is where he's actually thriving as a player at Manchester United. So if I'm him, unless Barcelona really comes knocking, and it's very clear, I just don't see why it makes sense for Marcus Rashford, and I don't think Barcelona at this point, I don't think he's priority number one.
Yeah, apparently a 400% pay rise is on the cards for Rashford, and maybe those stories are a little bit about maybe pushing that even further, not wishing to cast aspersions over where those...
Oh, you're casting aspersions.
Okay. David Neres to Manchester United. On the left-hand side of that attack.
Yeah, and one of the things with Ajax this year in Champions League that everybody enjoys and likes to watch, the young talent just flying around and how brave they are in the way they play, how aggressive, how they're able to create chances individually for themselves, for others, and one of those players has been Neres. But what happens is that when you play well at this sort of stage, then everybody starts paying attention. So fans and Ajax, because the truth of the matter is that people are going to come on flying by and they're going to say, we want that guy, we want that guy, we want that guy. And Neres is certainly at the front of the line when it comes to that sort of talent. Now, as it pertains to Manchester United, you already have players in those positions. There are other positions on need that you should be looking to upgrade. And if you're thinking about bringing this type of player, wouldn't you go after Jadon Sancho before you go after Neres? So therefore, Neres to somewhere, but not Manchester United.
Right, a real problem for Ajax if they're losing all of these key players. This is the most hot property on the European market right now in terms of stories. Joao Felix been involved in 22 goals out of his 36 games for Benfica. It's his first season in the first team, 19 years of age, from Portugal, a huge talent. If Dybala is to leave, is he the man that they go after?
Maybe so. But the idea is that he's still just 19 years old. And so what you would want to see, if I'm one of the big clubs around Europe, I want to see if this is something that he can continue to do. This is when Juventus or whoever the clubs involved in terms of going after him have to pay attention to and have to make a decision. Do we invest in potential, thinking that this guy is going to become the player that we think, and we take that chance so that we jump going a bidding war with anybody else because we're the first one in line and say, well, we're Juventus, we're going to put this money, we're going to take that chance? Or do we let it play out and say, okay, well, let's see what he becomes when he's 20, 21 years old. And then at that point, once you come into the market, you're going to come into a crowded market. That's a decision that is very difficult to make because in order to get this sort of talent, you're going to have to pay a whole bunch of money, and you don't really know what he's going to become. For that reason, I say Juventus stays away for a year.
All right. Regardless of Dybala.
They got to figure out a lot of stuff with Dybala, and I don't think the two are related.
Okay, I see. So nothing for Ali makes sense here in terms of specifics, but some of these players may well be on the move come the summer. And of course, Antonio Conte has got to go somewhere, surely.